Everyone, welcome to Advanced. And this game was played in 1965. And with the white pieces, we have our favorite. We have Mikhail Tal, and this was played. I think it was half. Like candidate tournament was divided in two halves, and I think this is the from the first half. With the white pieces, obviously I told you, and with the black pieces, we have Bent Larsen, and from the Larsen variation, I mean you must be familiar with that. So definitely this is going to be very much interesting, and I'm not going to be keeping you waiting for long because this is Tal's game, and we all appreciate Tal's games. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Tal starts with e4. We have c5 by Larsen, and we have knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to d4. Just c captures, knight captures e6, but now just comes knight to c3, and now this is also an idea. But here there is a very nice line. I mean, you can go for d6. I've shown this game. I think Fabi played it against Wesley. Fabi played it against Wesley, so where he went for a very weird line with by going for this knight to b5, and there's a lot of complications because the d6 wasn't played by Fabi, and he went for like instead bishop to f5 instead, and he had that king on f8. That was absolutely crazy. But I mean, this is this is not that time to play that variation. But here just bishop to e3, knight to f6, f4, but now just comes bishop to e7, queen to f3 castles, and a queenside castle by Tal. Tal is ready for an amazing attack in this position. Queen to c7, normally the main line. You want to play a6 because simply because the fact that b5 comes with the threat of b4, and somewhere along the line you're going to push this bishop, get the rook in the game, and threaten mate here. So prophylactic move like king to a prophylactic move like king to b1 is absolutely fine here in this position. But here we have knight b5 attacking the queen, and all of these squares are covered. I mean, if you go to queen to a5, then you have to understand there is no threat that you are actually going for, so there is no point in actually going for something like that. So queen to b8 was played by Bent Larsen, but here just g4 by Tal, and we have like a6 now. I mean, it could be a bit too late for Bent Larsen to go for this a6 against Tal, because simply because of the fact that here knight to d4, and knight is not very nicely centralized. You could go for a move like knight captures, bishop captures, and b5, which was actually played in the game. But now here you're trying to go for b4, but then you face this g5, and Tal actually goes for it. And here just knight to d7, but just bishop to d3, and you can see that already those bishop pairs are looking very amazing. Queen can anytime jump on that h5 square. I mean, your life is not going to be that easy in this position. And here Larsen goes for b4, but Tal plays, I mean, a very nice move here. But you could normally go for a move like knight to e2 in this position. I mean, for your games I'm telling you about here, and after like facing a move like e5, closing up this bishop. But then bishop to e3, knight captures, and here after knight to e5 attacking the queen and the bishop, you move the queen, bishop to b4 attacking the rook. And now you finally go for this move like knight to d5, trying to attack that bishop. That bishop is helpless there. You have to defend it with the queen, and you could trade here, but then I get the rook into the game. Slowly I might be able to in the future, obviously not right now, but get that queen rook battery on that h file. I mean, it could get very ugly, so you don't want to do that. So here after rook d2, you might play like a5, but there is a bit too much in this position. I mean, I would love to just push those h4 h5 and attack that black king. But here after bishop to f4, we have bishop to e6. But here after h4, a4, now after h5, you get bishop captures, e captures, and a beautiful move f5 here in this position. If you go en passant, then bishop captures, everything is defended. You don't have to worry about anything. But now you might be wondering in this position, what if I play like h6? Trying to just weaken the dark squares. But then you have to understand, to be able to attack on the dark squares, you have to give the dark square bishop, because you want to open up the center. And there is no mate here, unfortunately, because you have bishop captures on g5, and then you're going to lose the exchange. And this is just, well, there is nothing in this position. Yes, you can win back the exchange after this, but I mean, there is nothing in this position that you could possibly have. But here after f5, you could go for rook to e1, and you have to be very careful here. This is a perfect example of a poisoned pawn. You don't want to grab that pawn. If you grab that pawn, then you have this beautiful bishop to e4, and the game just can end end right here, right now. If you capture, just rook captures. If you capture, just rook captures. So there is nothing here in this position. And after f captures, I mean, you will win two pieces for the queen, but is it enough sufficient compensation when all this attack is happening around you? Absolutely not. But that is the best move. I mean, there is nothing you can do here after this. Like, I think it's going to be very bad for black, but what can you do here? There is nothing. But you could play, instead of capturing here, you could go for queen to c7, just still continue to put pressure, and the game is absolutely fine for you. But here after b5, not going for any of these crazy lines. Tal decided to be Tal, and Tal played this a spectacular Tal move. He goes for knight to d5. Now attacking that, so if you don't capture it, you're just much worse. So Bent Larsen was like, "What is that? I'm just gonna capture it." E captures, and Tal captured with E captures, and now you can already see there are a lot of troubles brewing here. Queen can jump in, and those bishop pair is looking absolutely amazing. But the best move in this position you could think of is not allowing the queen to jump to the h5 square. So g6 looks like very nice move, simply because now what do? Rook h2 e1 attacking the bishop could go back, and black will have terrible pieces. But then again, you might be able to survive this game. After bishop to d8, you play this queen to h3, but after knight to e5 attacking the queen to h6 trying to go for that mate. But now after bishop to b6, this is the move that you have to find. This is very critical because you want to trade that piece. There is no other square where you can also keep attacking on that diagonal, so there is no way back here. f5, but now just comes bishop captures, and this bishop captures is the only defensive resource that black has, because after bishop captures you have to be very careful to not go for g captures, because now if you do, rook captures, and now after pawn captures, bishop captures there actually wins a complete piece, simply because of the fact that queen is guarding it, and also that now that rook is going to jump in, pawn can be pushed, and your attack is happening much faster than black's. So here after bishop captures, g captures, not going for g captures, but playing this rook to e8 is absolutely fine. Bishop captures, rook captures, rook captures, and after pawn captures, you can see that the bishop moves back, but there is no attack happening. You're safe, and you survived Tal's attack, and you're going to be most likely winning this game. But here, none of that was played. E captures was played, but now f5 came, and f5 with the idea of that I showed in one of the lines, f5 was a beautiful move, but now it's actually a blunder. Just 2 moves later, it's actually a blunder. That's absolutely insane. But now rook d to e1, again with the same idea of not attacking the helpless bishop, but rook to f7 now. If you had moved back, it was absolutely fine. Rook to f7 does not work. Why it doesn't work is Tal will show you how. He goes for h4, and now that attack is coming a bit too fast. Bishop to b7 was played in this, but now bishop captures on f7, a very beautiful deflection tactic, because now you just sorry, not obviously not that, I don't know why it keeps happening here. Rook captures, and now you can understand bishop is already eyeing that, queen can jump in, your position is going to be absolutely amazing. But here he goes for it, for some reason I don't know why he went for it, but after rook captures he played knight to e5, and now you cannot capture because obviously the pawn is pinned. But then again, I mean, queen to e4 was played, now attacking both the pieces. Only defensive resource is queen to f8, but now Tal just takes back the piece that he sacrificed to gain some momentum. So here just f captures, and with a move like you have to really understand why this move works. I mean, white is better, he's like 2 pawns up here, but you have to understand that if you allow these pawns to exist, your game is basically over. Tal is already just going there. If you push this bishop gets locked out of the position. Queen and the rook are doing absolutely amazingly well, and there is nothing that you can do afterwards. So here the best move is queen captures on e7. I mean, not going there, I don't know what is. Queen captures on e7, but here after queen captures on e5, now you go for this bishop captures on d5, and you've eliminated one of the past pawns, which is great. But after rook to e1 and after bishop to f7, still there's a lot of things to be considered here, and white is better, and white is most likely winning this game. But you can just postpone it till like 20 moves or so. But here after f captures, rook to e4, f4 was played, and here queen to e3, rook to f3, and Bent Larsen thought that all of this is fine. I can just continue to give like attack the queen, and I'll be fine. Queen to e2, but now he went for queen captures rook. But unfortunately, this line it doesn't work, because you captured it on f5 and you were not defending the d5 pawn that came with an attack on the rook. But now it's on f3, and now you cannot capture the pawn. Next move that is coming, and there isn't even a rook hanging, so I'm just gonna be amazingly well in this position. And that's what happened. D captures, but now just comes this rook to e1, rook to d8, and now just going for this rook caps on e5, and now we have queen to d6. Everyone is just focused so much on the pawn that everyone just forgot about the king. That's the guy that you had to save. But this is the thing that happens when you have a pass pawn. Everyone is focused on not letting it queen, but now you can attack and actually win the game right on the spot. And that's exactly what Tal does. He goes for queen to f4, threatening a very beautiful tactic, rook to e8. I mean, king has no squares, you're gonna have to capture, and the queen will be free. So here rook to f8 was played, attacking the queen, but now just the queen to e4, b3, a captures, rook to f1 check, trying to give some checks and trying to maybe just have a perpetual king to d2, queen to b4 check, c3, but just this queen to d6 was played, bishop to c5. Now a beautiful move by Tal. I mean, completely wins the game right on the spot, because queen caps on c5. You have this rook to e8 check, rook to f8 blocking, but now comes queen to e6 and king to h8. And you might be thinking, well, I'm protecting it. What do you have in this? You gave a bishop for what? Well, Tal and we gave this bishop for going for this very beautiful queen to f7. You cannot capture because your rook is pinned. You cannot capture here because once the queen captures, now you will, like, I can just show you, if you capture here, capture, this is just getting mated. So you know that's exactly the plan. And well, this was a very beautiful move, and it was on this move, on move 37, that Bent Larsen resigned the game, and Tal got this spectacular victory in just 37 moves. That's why he's the magician. I mean, after sacrificing that knight on d5 to coming here and getting this victory is absolutely beautiful, stunning, absolute tactician that he is absolutely magical. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you all.